Hello and welcome to this review of the Hohem iSteady Pro 2 3-axis gimbal for action cameras. So it comes in this box. Let's open it up. I have already opened the box up and I have already used the gimbal. So it's a really nice case, and what's nice is when you put it in your bag, you can put your hand in, you can feel around, you can pull on these bits to pull it out. It's a good case, yeah, particularly for the price. See, we've got an instruction booklet and you can scan with your smartphone to get the app. We've got the gimbal itself. We've got a micro USB charging cable, and we've got another set of USB cables here, and this is to charge GoPros and action cameras while on the gimbal. We've got USB-C and we've got micro USB there. We have a small little tripod, and the small tripod can fit in on the end of the gimbal, or it can fit in towards the top of the gimbal, giving it different mounting options. So the gimbal itself is fairly sort of cheap and basic. It's mainly plastic. In fact, it's all plastic. What's good though is we've got an on button, we've got a button for mode, and you can quite easily tell what mode you're in as well. We've got indicators for Bluetooth and the mode indicator there, and we've got a joystick to move it around, and we can do some adjustments should we need to. Here we've got our USB charging ports. Now here is where we charge our battery, because it has a self-contained battery, and we can use this device to charge other things. So we've got a standard USB port here. The gimbal is said to be splash proof, hence why we've got a bit of a plastic and rubbery seal here. We've got a trigger button which comes in useful, and we've got an LED indicator for battery life. Looking at the gimbal head, you can see here we've got a USB port, and that's to use those cables that I talked about earlier. So when your camera is plugged in, you can charge it off the device should you need to. One of the good things about this gimbal is you can just leave your action cam in there. And the other thing that I really like is you don't need to do any balancing. So I'm going to put in a GoPro, and I'm going to show you a variety of action cams in here. So I need to pop it out like that, and then I need to try and push the GoPro in, and then of course I've got to do it back up. Now I'm using the GoPro Hero 7 here, and this is quite wide and quite deep compared to other devices. You can spend a fair bit of time just screwing it and doing it up. But now it's in, that's that, it's secure. I can pack it away in the case like this with the GoPro in, and I don't need to worry about it. The only consideration though is I've got access to port here if I want to plug in and charge it or use the audio adapter, but I can't actually turn the GoPro on because the button to turn it on is on this side. I can start the GoPro by pressing the button up here, but I can't turn it on. So I suggest you put your GoPro in quick start or turn it on before you put it in. The other way to alleviate this is of course to put it in upside down. But if you put it in upside down, you've got this bit going in first, so it can be quite tricky to put it in upside down, but it is possible. I think you need to just give it more slack. Here. So yeah, we can see we can put it in upside down like so, and then we have access to the power button. So all I need to do now is I just need to hold down on the power button, and it boots up and it works and it goes straight into life. When I move the gimbal around, it counteracts my movements to keep the action camera steady. So to test the iSteady gimbal, I put a GoPro Hero 4 in it, and I'm walking along handheld with a GoPro Hero 7 just to compare the two. And you can see the Hero 4 footage is quite smooth, and it's almost as smooth as the GoPro Hero 7 footage. And here I put the GoPro Hero 7 Black in the iSteady, and I've got the internal stabilisation turned on as well, and we're getting really smooth footage. So what I can do is I can turn it off here. If I quick tap, I go into mode 1, double tap, I go into mode 2, triple tap, I go into mode 3, and I get different behaviours for each mode. You can see here the LED flashes differently for each mode, so it's doing a single flash here, it's doing a double flash here, and it's doing a triple flash there. You can see moving the joystick around just pans the gimbal and allows you to do some smooth panning, which is very useful. So you can see there, if I double tap the trigger, it resets the gimbal. I've never had to use these adjustment buttons here, but they're there if I need them. Powering the gimbal off is easy. Just hold down on the button and it turns off. So if I use the app on my phone, I'm able to control the gimbal via the app. So I swipe across to which gimbal I have, I click connect devices, I connect to it. I think the connection's done over Bluetooth. Connect, and it connects. And I can do some calibration if I want to. I can change some settings, I can change speeds and other things. But really why I would use this is I can do a motion time lapse. So here I can move the gimbal around. So I'm going to start there and I'm going to set my point there, and then I move to where I want it next and I set my other point. 2 points is going to be the simplest. So here we can see an example of just taking a time lapse using the iSteady Pro 2 with a GoPro. It looks really good. So with an old GoPro or any action cam, and this does fit many of the action cams out there, you can get some really good dynamic motion time lapses. And one of the things you can do, which is a bit of a bonus feature, is you can do this sort of inception mode. So you can put the iSteady Pro into follow mode, and then you can spin it on its axis. And I think you can spin it up to 600 degrees, and you can get some very good and interesting shots. So the gimbal is very well priced. I think I paid £57 for it, and it ranges from £57 to £100 depending where you buy it. I bought mine on eBay, and the gimbal does a good job with action cams.